and if you are not caught up on season 6, episode 2 of Game of Thrones, abort, go away, come back later, because this is going to be filled with spoilers from yesterday's episode of Game of Thrones. Alright, so I'll just get right to it. Holy moly, Jon Snow's alive? What? That's such a shocker! Oh my gosh, I thought he was dead! Said no one ever. Yes, of course I'm being sarcastic because we all knew that Jon Snow was going to be alive, be resurrected, whatever. We knew he was coming back. I am actually so super shocked that they put it in episode 2. I was really hoping that they would wait until episode 7 or 8 to resurrect Jon Snow to bring him back. And now I understand why. They came out in an article and said that this is going to be one of the heaviest Jon Snow seasons to date. So this is going to be a huge season for Jon Snow. So of course they had to resurrect him really quickly, bring him back, make sure that he was around, because he's got a lot of stuff to do in season 6, which is really cool. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am just so ready to see Jon Snow doing other things. Like, he's very honorable and he was a great Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and he's just meant to do so much more. So as a fan, I have just been sitting around while I'm waiting for George to write the books, but I am waiting for Jon Snow to have his true purpose, to find his true purpose, to really get in the game. I'm just ready, you know? Jon Snow, he's been at Castle Black and north of the Wall. I'm just ready for him to come back and be a leader. And the whole death thing is just so, it was so predictable. I mean, I want to know from you guys, like, were you sitting there just saying, hurry up, Melisandre and Davos, get out of the room so Jon Snow can wake up? We all knew it was coming. It wasn't a shocker. They did a good job of just startling us with his like, but yes, we knew he was coming back, and he's back. I can't wait to hear what the very first thing out of his mouth is, and I hope it's something really cool. And I don't know, I'm ready for Jon Snow to just take over Westeros. I don't know. I have some theories about Jon Snow, which I talked about in last week's Game of Thrones recap-ish thing. Alright, so Jon Snow, of course, that was the very last thing of the episode, which I talked about first, because if I didn't, you all would be like, why haven't you talked about Jon Snow yet? I actually didn't think that they were going to touch on as many characters as they did in episode 2, unlike episode 1, which usually tries to touch on most everybody, but then the people who were left out of episode 1 get to be in episode 2. So I thought this episode was going to be huge for Bran and Arya, since they weren't exactly featured. Bran wasn't in it at all in episode 1. But we finally see Bran, which was awesome, and Hodor. And we basically find out that he can watch things that have happened in the past. We see a young Ned Stark, which was so cool, and Lyanna, and a young Hodor. Like, all of that was really cool. I'm kind of excited to see what sort of flashbacks they're gonna throw in there. I just hope they do a really good job with the flashbacks and not make it feel like they're just throwing information at you over and over and over again. So I'm just hoping his flashbacks are awesome and don't give away too much yet. But I am excited to see what else Bran sees. So anyway, I thought the stuff with Bran was really cool. I think it's going to get more interesting as the season goes on. We got a tiny little bit more from Arya, and I feel like it's gonna be like this the whole season. I feel like every week they may just give us a little bit more and a little bit more. But I'm just not sure if this is going to be a very big season for Arya. I mean, maybe we'll get like a big episode with her featured primarily at some point, and I'm hoping that it happens because I really want to know where they're going to take her storyline. But in this episode, I really loved her scene. We got so much more than the first episode. But like I said, it'll be really cool to see more of Arya and more of her storyline, and oh, it's just gonna be so cool. I can't wait. Of course, one of my favorite scenes was, again, with Sansa and Brienne. Gosh, their dynamic is just so weird, and I love it. And it's just so unexpected, partially because it didn't happen in the books, and partially because it's just two completely separate people who now have to be together, because these people would never be friends in real life, but because of their circumstances they are, or they will be, or they have to work together in some fashion. And I love that because it's just unexpected and it's different and it's weird and I like it. We found out that Theon's gonna go home. We got an awesome epic scene at his home where his father was killed and his sister now wants to rule, which did happen in the books, which was awesome to finally get back to their storyline, because I do find it interesting, and I was really happy to see that they're going to go back there and show us more of that. The internet was like freaking out about Ramsay Bolton killing a baby and his stepmother. Yeah, it's just not shocking. Anything that Ramsay does just doesn't shock me because he is the worst of the worst. I don't know what you guys thought, but at first I thought he was gonna drop the baby into that fire pit that was outside. I was like, oh, that baby's going in the fire pit and that's gonna be awful. But then once he brought them into the kennels, I was like, oh, well, I know what's coming, and yeah, he'll do it. So it obviously is like one of those shocking moments just because of how horrific he is. So I guess that is a very shocking moment, but it didn't shock me because I just know Ramsay is just the most horrible person. But at the end of the day, Ramsay is one of those people that are like, if you're in my way, I'm just gonna eliminate you because that's the easiest thing to do, and that's what he knows how to do. So of course he eliminates his father, he eliminates the heir, he eliminates his stepmother, and now he rules Winterfell, and he's gonna try to find Sansa. He might feel guilty for killing his father, but at the end of the day, his father stood in his way, and so did the baby brother. So yeah, that's Ramsay for you. We didn't get anything from Daenerys this week. I think next week's episode is going to be Dany heavy, as well as hopefully more Arya, because I'm ready. But we did get an amazing scene where Tyrion unchains Dany's dragons from the dungeon. How cool was that scene? I loved it. The one thing that we all love about Tyrion is that he's just so witty and funny and sarcastic, and even in a time of fear, he's still witty and sarcastic, and I loved that, and I loved the subtleties of the scene. Thinking about a theory right now is very interesting to me, and the dragons let him unchain them, and they didn't eat him, and it was just such a cool scene, and very, very interesting as far as theories go. I mean, Tyrion being around Dany is so important for her because he like he said in the episode, I drink and I know things, and it's so true because he does. And the fact that Dany chained up her dragons because she couldn't control them anymore, and then he had the story about how dragons basically became extinct, which was so fascinating. So I'm just really hoping that we see Dany learning a lot from Tyrion this season. Still a really, really awesome scene. I loved it, and I'm really hoping for more Tyrion dragon interaction soon. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Cersei, Jaime, Myrcella's funeral. Tommen wants to step up and be a better king. Interesting. I hope he does. I do like Tommen. It's like, that poor kid just kind of got the short end of the stick, and if he ends up dying this season, it's gonna be kind of sad, because that poor kid did nothing wrong, but he does need to be strong, and he needs to get his wife out of prison. He kind of needs to step up and learn how to be a king, and I'm hoping Cersei helps him, but it may not be for the right reasons or for good reasons, so that's gonna be interesting to see. But Jon Snow is alive! Huzzah! None of us are surprised, right? Did anyone actually think he was like really, really dead, like never coming back? Because I'm legit curious if you did think he was never coming back. Let me know in the comments. But me, nah. I can't jump on the Jon Snow's dead train. I never believed it. Never! Well, this season is interesting just because we don't have the books to go off of, and we're all just out in the dark, hoping that our favorite characters survive and have cool story arcs. But I really loved in this episode that they threw in the Greyjoys, because that's in the book, and that's a cool storyline, and I always wondered why they didn't throw it in there, and that gives me hope. Maybe, hey, maybe Game of Thrones, you will bring Lady Stoneheart, okay? I don't know if that's ever happening, but that will be the huge shocker, if she just shows up finale like, BAM! Oh man, everyone would lose their minds. I would lose my mind. Well, there you have it. That's my recap, whatever you want to call it, review, recap, comments, thoughts, theories on season 2 is not season 2. On season 6, episode 2 of Game of Thrones. It was called Home. I'm not going to be doing a review or a commentary on every episode this season, but Jon Snow's alive. Of course, I had to say something about it. I mean, I did make a whole music video about how he's not dead, so I thought it was very fitting that I make a video just about his resurrection. I want to know from you guys, what did you think of the episode? What was your favorite scene, least favorite scene? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I want Jon Snow, I won't take no, my favorite crown. I'll never let him go, I'll never let him go, never let him go. K to the O.